Hi! So Dynamite was last night. I've not long finished watching the show and it was fucking stacked. Really good show, really stacked. Matches were excellent. Not the most in terms of there wasn't so much quantity, but there's so much quality. And everything felt a lot developed. There's no matches that I thought that needed more time. None of that. I thought that was really good. Only about 4 or 5 matches, but like those matches all fucking ripped. So let's get into it and break it down because that's what I do. So the show starts up. This is the main thing people are going to talk about. And when the show started up, it was Shivani in the ring and he was about to do the Kenny and MJF contract signing. And then the pyro's going off and Shivani's looking at it like that. I'm chuckling and then I look at my calendar and go, oh fuck. So my April Fool's videos didn't go really well. It all goes out, the pyro goes off, and Jericho is back. Yeah. He gets a pop. He gets a huge pop, actually. Like, I think Jericho, everyone was surprised with the reaction he got. I think people would have booed him out the ring, frankly. I think that's what they expected, but he's from Winnipeg, you idiot, which is where Dynamite is this week. If I'm all honest, I'm happy he got a pop. I am happy that Jericho did get a pop. I think he deserves that pop for his legacy and what he does for AEW. I think that, again, I made the video. That was one of my first videos. Is that Jericho doesn't get that credit, but however, so he takes I don't know how long the segment was. It felt like not even 5 minutes, and it was just him standing there, and he was baffled because the pop, and he kept like roaring it up, and then he just gets the mic and goes, "Winnipeg, I'm home." He looks great. He obviously lost a lot of weight. The big shock, obviously, is he's back. A lot of people think he'd go WWE. I think most people did. Even myself, I thought he would. But after the Rumble, I thought, no, it's not happening. How do I feel about Jericho being back? I mean, the thing is with Jericho, I like him as a talent. I think he's funny as hell. I just think, I've said it before, I'll say it again, he's painfully entertaining. I think that's the exact way to describe Jericho, especially modern day. But AEW's been on a hell of a run, and I think you can't ignore the fact that that is because Jericho hasn't been taking up some TV time. They've been allowing other talent to develop and breathe. As long as Jericho, frankly, doesn't take up too much time, doesn't become too egregious, stuff like that, I'm okay with it. But knowing Jericho, he probably will. So I just don't know where Jericho's going to fit. Jericho's there to help other guys and, develop and, stuff like that. Maybe he's just a collision guy or something. I don't know. But point is, it depends how you handle him. But honestly, in a way, it's a double-edged sword. I'm happy to see that Jericho got the reaction, but I'm also like, well, who's going to get cut to see Jericho on TV? You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at. But he's back. Yay, I guess. But after that, it cuts to backstage. And we get Ospreay beating the ever-living piss out of Moxley backstage, and then Yuta and stuff. Get your hands off him, you son of a bitch! And then Yuta gets through into the Ospreay really wants Moxley's head. He gets broken up. He's screaming, "I'll kill you, John! I'll kill you!" And it's like, fucking hell, all right, Gabe, fucking hell. So that's definitely setting up their feud even more. Moxley's like, Tasmanian devil as a human, and that was that little segment, just establishing that, they hate each other. No Pac at that point, though. I thought Pac would be the one to break it up, obviously setting up the match, but no, not yet. But yeah, that was how we are. Dynamite opened up with Jericho and Moxley getting the piss beaten out of him. That's wild. I can't believe Jericho's back. But after this, we actually got our Kenny and MJF contract signing. They both come out. They just sign the contracts instantaneously. Max goes to start his promo, and Kenny goes, "Max, just shut up." Shut up. Nah, he doesn't say it like that, but he just tells him to shut up. And then he just goes on his little tirade saying, "Max, I don't know, you know who I am. Like, at the end of the day, everyone's sick and tired of your self-obsessed. I need to stop you with this. I almost died for this title, and I'm willing to do that again just to shut you up." And it's like, oh, fuck. Then Max gets the mic and goes, "Kenny, do you want to tell him or so should I?" Oh, Kenny does say to him, you look at it, he's looking, he got a new belt, blah, blah, you got new hair plugs, and Max is like, like pissed. Max goes on today, basically, eventually, when he gets time to speak, goes on to say, about, Kenny, "I've got secrets about you, don't worry. Your boyfriend Kota Ibushi, that was cool." And then he basically tries to reveal a bombshell that Kenny's pardon me, Kenny's divertic, I'm not even pronouncing it, his stomach issue is bad as ever. And essentially, it can blow any time, and that's why he wants to win this belt, because he's scared. He's scared of his legacy. He needs to win this for himself. And, you know, basically, Max just brings that up. And obviously, it's no physicality. Kenny ends up flipping the table and goes to hit Max. But obviously, Max is like, go on, do it, because obviously... So, if they said before it, if Max hits Kenny, or instigates the contact, Max loses the belt straight away. But if Kenny hits Max, the match is called off. And then Speedball comes out when they're about to. Speedball breaks it up. And then Speedball basically starts going, you know, calling Max out, saying, like, you know, you don't realise who he is. This is one of the greatest of all time. He's going to beat your ass. And then and he goes, Max, I want a match with you. I want a match with you tonight. And then Kenny's like, you won't do it, Max. You won't. Max like, I won't. And then he just calls him a bitch and shit. And then... So then Max is like, you know what, Speedball, you don't think I will? You're on, okay? But you're not facing me. You're facing an American hero. Oh, bro. I popped in my bed huge. I fucking did. I was like, yeah. I love the American hero gimmick. It's so fucking shameless. It's so stupid. And obviously, because they're in Winnipeg, you idiot. This one's just being pure brain rot from my end. And it was, so the American hero gimmick's back, and they do confirm it is the AEW title eliminator match for Max versus Speedball tonight as the main event. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was a really nice little surprise. Obviously, I was asleep early, to get up early for the show, and I didn't expect it to be so, not instantaneous, just so, like, I don't want to say, I don't know, I just feel like I called the card, because it wasn't that developed, but, like, this obviously adds a lot to it, so that's what I was happy about. But the promo segment was pretty cool. I do enjoy it. I do wish we get a bit more between Max and Kenny. Speedball being in there feels like a good little, you know, in there type of moment, because this thing, with AEW with the title pictures, when they've got a feud like this, they try and build it up with, you know, Max taking out someone close to the character. So, like, when it was Max versus Ospreay, he took out Fletcher, stuff like that. I think he even took out Oku. And now, essentially, because Kenny's got no Kota, and the Bucks I think the Bucks are out, because the Bucks aren't here again. You know, it's kind of hard to find someone who they want. But Speedball makes sense. Both Canadian, both share a little bit of interest, and obviously you can put Speedball in that title picture. Might as well. So either way, the segment was good. I enjoyed it. And yes, we get Speedball versus Max tonight. That is pretty cool. After this, though, we actually do get our first match of the evening. We got the Demand, Ricochet, Gates of Agony, Total Leon, and Bishop Khan versus Kenny Omega, who's already in ring. Yeah, because he does the contract signing in full gear. I thought that was funny as hell. Brody King and new AEW National Champ Jack Perry. I thought this match was really fun. I thought it had an excellent little pace to it, excellent speed, didn't drag on, didn't feel too quick. It felt purposeful. I thought this would be later on the show, because I had my idea of Brandito coming to make the save, but no. I will say this is the best Bishop Khan's look. Specifically, I've always said for a while, since the Gates of Agony's huge push. Obviously, I love Toa Leona. I've always said that. I've said that for a while now. One of my favourites to watch. Bishop Khan's being the guy I've seen people like, no, he's a really good singles guy. You got to give him the torch a bit. And I'm like, okay, I try and keep an eye on a little bit of Bishop Khan for a lot, and he's really good here. He's really good. I've tried to see it in other matches, and I'm not that I don't see it. He's definitely a good wrestler. It's just I haven't seen it to the point where people are like, he's really fucking good. I just think he's really good here. Obviously, him and Kenny get some good minutes. Jack Perry comes in. He gets a lot. Brody doesn't have too much to do, but when Brody does, obviously, he steals it. Toa Leona looks great. Toa Leona just wiping people out. Ricochet's... The thing is with this match, what I did notice is, obviously, Ricochet had the whole controversy on Twitter, which I don't want to really get into. But point is, he got, like, you know, basically told to stop with his heel antics. And so, when he's doing it, in this one, it feels a lot less... He feels a lot watered down. He feels a lot more trepidatious and a lot less exaggerated in terms of his character work, which I think that's Ricochet's strongest point. So I feel like that is very noticeable since Ricochet's come back. He doesn't feel as boisterous, for lack of a better term. He doesn't feel as wild, which I do. That's one of my favourite things about Ricochet. You know, he'd just be too fucking funny. And he's just great anyway. Everyone loves Ricochet. Show some love. But I thought Ricochet... Yeah, I think that's the one thing I would say about this match, is that is the only bad thing is Ricochet is a bit too watered down. I wish Ricochet, I think that's like a confidence thing because he doesn't want to really fuck about too much at the minute, and I get that, but it's also like, bro, you fucking Ricochet, just, you know, just be who you are. I don't want them to kind of, that to be so affected. Totally looks great, like I say. Obviously Kenny, I mean, Kenny looks sharp again. That's the thing with this match. I like how sharp Kenny looked. Brody, every time, again, like, bro, every time Brody comes in, he looks great. A lot of pile drives, a lot of slams. Toleone's, like, the thing is with Toleone, he's really found his character for me. Really has, in the sense of he's just designed to be now, just be wild, just be fucking nuts, and I fucking love that. I love how, like, he's just taking people out, like he's rushing Jack Perry's going flying. Jack Perry's so fucking good. Jack Perry's so agile. That's what I like about Jack. Him and Bishop Khan and Toleone, like those, like when Jack's Weaver with them two, obviously, and obviously Ricochet, they've got history. But with them two specifically, because he is so agile and so nimble, it works very well. I think, again, the main thing to talk about this match was Bishop Khan. I feel like Bishop Khan, you're looking at it and going, yeah, I get it. I get this a bit now. Not that he's like a generational fucking wrestler. He's good. He's very good, in fact. It's just, I've just seen it a bit more now. I think him, obviously, it's with Kenny, so like Kenny could make the fucking 7-year-old girl look good, you know what I mean? It's like, that's how good Kenny is. And I really enjoyed this. Again, this is a very easy match to fuck up in terms of after a press conference, like, well, a contract signing like that, after the, you know, the show started with such a blistering pace. I will say the crowd was on fire. I honestly, Winnipeg was a phenomenal crowd. Coming from a Fresno show 2 weeks ago to Winnipeg is like the biggest fucking privilege. Fresno's the fucking worst. But honestly, I think as a match, it was really fun. I'm trying to recall more that happened. Like, I remember Brody done the, you know, the cannonball, which I do fucking love. They didn't give the pin to Jack Perry, well, over Ricochet, which I thought the man would win. They didn't. Kenny, Brody, and Perry won, which I was very surprised about. I thought it'd be the other way, because if the other way it sets up more with Perry and Brody and stuff, I thought that's the way they were going to go. So that shocked me, but the faces got the win. That was pretty neat. But yeah, I do wish that, honestly, I do wish that Ricochet would just kind of shake the cobwebs a bit. Like, you know what I mean? I think that that's going to affect him, and I hope not. But in ring-wise, everything was excellent, as you expect with these guys. Chaotic, but in a fun way. Very good speed. Really enjoyed this one. After this, we actually got Willow Nightingale backstage, saying she's our she's our TBS champion. Yes, not the tag! And she's basically saying she wants to defend this belt on Collision, which is tonight, by the way. Don't forget, Collision is tonight. And she doesn't know who she wants to defend against, so it's an open challenge. She goes, I only want to defend it against the best of the best. The best of the best, essentially, open challenge. So find out who that is tonight. It's probably Mercedes. I think it's going to be Mercedes. You got, obviously, the tweet she made a few days ago. It's like 4 days, and it's like, fuck. You know what I mean? So it feels like that makes sense for it to be Mercedes, but I don't know. I wouldn't be against that, but who else it could be, I don't really know. But they're definitely confirming that. That's pretty fun. Willow's back in the scene. Good. After that, though, we actually do get Cope and Christian, or Cope and Cage. Cage and Cope walking through the arena with Renee, and they've got chairs, and they're going, we're after FTR, we're going to try and find whoever's in our way. And then Christian gets the chair to hit Renee. And then Edge goes, no, not Renee. And then they walk off and he goes, not Renee. And Christian's just like, what the fuck? Then it cuts the break. Then it comes back. And then they're still walking and they go to FTR's locker room and they go in to try and beat their ass. And then it's RPG Vice in there. And they're like, whoa, where's FTR? And they're like, hey, they're not here, but we could pass on a message. And Christian just goes, I think they're in our way, and they just stop beating the fucking ass. They're saying they're going to be on Collision, obviously, so that's what they're setting up. Edge just goes, I guess we're going to Collision. But then they still beat up RPG Vice. I thought they were going to set up that match. They actually should have done that for tonight. I feel like that would have been fun. I enjoy RPG Vice a lot. But yeah, that's Cope and Cage and Cope. Christian's just, I just love how fucking funny Christian is now. Like, he's so good. Like, they've managed to transition how humorous his I heard you had a father stuff to him just being fucking wild in terms of like going to hit Renee and just saying they're in our way, but not in like a wacky way. He's still got that like piercing fucking asshole face, and I do love that. But yeah, so just setting more of them up, good. However, the big one is now we have Pac versus Ospreay in our I'm gonna say our main event. It should have been the main event, but I get why it's not. This match fucking ripped as you expect. I mean, what else you expect from these are two of the greatest British wrestlers and probably some of the greatest wrestlers ever. Pac is the perfect wrestler if you want to be completely candid. There's very little Pac can't do. Ospreay again just coming back off injury, but he's still so fucking good. They do play into the injury a lot, bit heavy if I'm honest. So like Pac attacks Ospreay's neck straight away, which I thought that was reminiscent of when Pac attacked Ospreay on the ramp before their all-out match where he done the Hurricane Rana, or well, not Hurricane Rana, but the backflip thing. That was sick. So they play up Ospreay's neck. The doctor's like, Will, you don't have to go in. Take your time. And then like Will goes in the ring and he's like, no. It was like, call the fucking match off then. But yeah, so Pac just basically attacks Ospreay's neck heavily. When it eventually does free up a bit, I do enjoy that Ospreay was still a bit more gung-ho, but not to the point where it's like, you're not playing it safe with a fucking bad neck. He's taped up to fuck. I mean, just everything you expect. I think this is, I just adore Pac. I adore Ospreay, don't get me wrong, but I adore Pac. I think Pac's truly so, I don't want to say underutilized, but I wish Pac was every week. I do. I just think Pac's excellent wrestler. Everyone thinks Pac's an excellent wrestler, but he's still. As a match, I mean, Ospreay's just... I love how Ospreay still has that control, still has, you know, the ability to do all this shit that he still can, but like to a more safe degree, but still it kind of makes it work. It's weird. I mean, you get your basics, you get your back, you get your Black Arrow, you get your Hidden Blade, you get a Styles Clash. It was fucking brutal. I love the Styles Clash. Where so Ospreay goes for the Styles Clash, and you'd expect that to be the finish, but no, it's not. Pac kicks out. There's a good speed to it. I didn't expect it to have this good of a speed. It definitely did. Obviously a lot of like, you know, in between moments, striking, elbows, stuff like that. The Black Arrow Pac does. I mean, it's one of the best moves. I love the Black Arrow. It's excellent. I've seen that shit in person. It's biblical. It really fucking is. Ospreay's not as high flying heavy. Neither is Pac here. The kind of just want a bit more grounded, which I kind of preferred. I think you could easily have... I don't know. I love high flying. I think it's so entertaining, especially like luchadors and stuff, and Ospreay and Pac being two prime examples as well. But it's like this one for me really worked in the sense of they didn't do too much. It felt like a true fucking fight, and honestly, the story was Pac was beating fucking Ospreay a lot. And like that's what I enjoyed. The finish really fucking got this in there. The brainbuster, by the way, hits a nasty brainbuster on Ospreay. That fucking looked great, but obviously with the neck. But it was excellent. I really enjoy Pac here. I think Pac looks really fucking good, but when doesn't Pac? So the finish was excellent. So Pac has Ospreay in I forget what the lock is called, but it's like where he has the hands behind the head, like that. You know, where the hands are like that. So he has to be a verbal tap, couldn't do a physical tap. And Ospreay's screaming, trying to get to the ropes. And I thought that's how they break it, but no, Pac rags him back. I thought that was really cool. But Ospreay gets to the roll-up, a roll-up pin on Pac, which I thought was smart. It was a smart finish. And honestly, it kind of works for the attacking of Ospreay from Pac. It doesn't demean Pac in any way. Pac looks bewildered, he looks pissed. And Ospreay's obviously, you know, just floppy as hell. But then after the match, what you expect, Yuta, Garcia run out, they attack Will, and then followed by Claudio. Claudio brings the chair, and then Moxley and Marina follow. Claudio sets up the chair to his neck, similar to at Forbidden Door, where Ospreay did get injured. And then, you know, Claudio runs up Moxley in the ring, and Moxley puts his hand and he goes, Will, I'm going to stop you. And then basically goes, I could have done that. Basically saying, you know, be grateful that I stopped you, you know. And then he basically goes on to say, this isn't personal. Don't make it personal. And I thought that was a fucking cool ass line. Ospreay, that was what I liked about in the match dead quick. When Pac had him in the lock, Pac was screaming, ask him, he's out. And I'm like, yeah, fuck, that's cool. I just love how Pac inflicts everything. Pac's just fucking so cool. But either way, that's how it is. So Moxley's basically trying to say, like, look, Will, it's not personal between me and you, but don't fucking make it personal. And I thought that was a really cool sentiment. So in a way, I kind of hope Will does. But as a match, I mean, it's not as good as their all-out match. It's not, but it's so fucking electric, and that's such a high bar that obviously, you know, it's hard to compare it, even though it is the two same talents. But don't forget, Ospreay's still coming off with a big injury, so it's kind of hard for him to be as risky with his wrestling style. But as a match, I mean, the pace, everything about it, the crowd were up for it. The crowd were loving it. Again, Winnipeg's a phenomenal crowd here. It was just a great ass match. I really fucking enjoyed this. I thought it was an excellent match. Definitely match of the night. No question that. Definite match of the night. After that, we actually got our women's trios match. We got the Triangle of Madness with AEW World Champion Tekla and Julia Hart and Sky Blue. This is the Brawling Lovebirds, which that's not their name, but it basically is. It is Jamie Hayter, Alex Windsor, and Mina Shirakawa. Now, obviously, this was set up on Collision last week. This match really solidifies that one. Tekla is just the fucking greatest. She's so fucking good. But also, how good the Brawling Birds are. They're so good. I mean, they're the most fluid tag team in the women's division, bar none. Like, no debate. They have it's just two great wrestlers who have a great understanding, really fluid. This is what I've been wanting. They're the way. They are the answer. They're obviously great character workers. Sky Blue looks better here. Again, Sky Blue's good. Julia Hart, I'm just not into. I'm sorry. I just don't think Julia Hart does anything effectively well. I think she's, I don't want to be too hateful, but, I'm not a big fan. But Tekla's whole taunting with the Tony Storm thing and then the dancing. She doesn't have as much vocal lines here, but she does a little dance and stuff. That's the fun part. What I did enjoy was Mina looks really aggressive. Mina's got straightened hair, which look weird, but it looked really cool. Makes her look a lot more serious. Jamie and Windsor, I mean, what else you expect from these two? Windsor didn't have too much to do, but Jamie did, which I liked. Obviously, I'm a big Jamie Hayter guy. But as an actual match, it was really good. This is the shortest match of the night, you can tell. Obviously, they build up all the feuds between the two. What I did enjoy about this was the lariat. Again, I love the Brawling Birds finisher, where they do the lariat and Jamie Hayter knocks their ass off top of Alex Windsor. I thought that's excellent. What I did, one thing that made me laugh in the match was, there's a point where Alex Windsor's getting attacked, or she gets beat off something, or just a tiny bit, and then you just hear Jamie Hayter go, "That's my mate," and then runs after. It's like, fuck off. But as a match, I mean, it was really good. Mina looks good. She does a figure four and stuff. But I think one thing that this match didn't do is really highlight what's next for Tekla. Because they pin, so the Brawling Birds and Mina win, but they don't pin Tekla. I think they pinned Julia, or I think it was Julia. It might have been Sky, but it wasn't Tekla, that's the point. And I think, well, okay, so where are we going with Tekla? Because that's the biggest thing for this match. And obviously, we're obviously going to get the Brawling Birds and the Sisters of Sin. That just makes sense. But with Mina, is that the avenue they're going with Tekla? I don't know. But they need that. I think that's the one thing it failed at, was setting up something for Tekla for Dynasty, which was very important for me. But as a match, I think it really delivered. It wasn't boring. It wasn't overstaying. Honestly, it didn't. I don't want to say it didn't need more. It didn't need more time. I think it really balanced itself well. I thought it was a really good match. I really did. And for a match like this, that's so just whatever, just throwing out of the wall, it really worked. The Brawling Birds is the main showcase here, and that's the main thing. It's their first showcase match since, first proper match since being a tag, and they really delivered. So that's my biggest thing. I hope they really do get the push, because they're the only ones in the division that I think have actual chemistry. So after this, though, we actually get randomly a little Darby Allin promo, and I literally said while watching it, what the fuck's Darby doing? What the Darb doing? Fuck off. And then what happened? He comes out and he's pissed, going, "Max, I've had enough. I beat, getting the Don Callis family to come attack me. I want that title shot. You're so self-centered," stuff like that. So Max, get your ass out here. And obviously Max had the match later, so I thought that's what they were going to do. But then Don Callis comes out with the family, not all of the family, but some of them, and basically goes, "Max has given me a lot of money." And he basically says, I'm repeating myself. He goes, "Look, if you beat one of the Don Callis family members, Max said he'll give you a title shot, but you have to beat them, and there's anyone up to our choice." And he goes to point at Lance Archer, and then he pointed at Andrade. Andrade's like, what the hell? And then Don goes, "Go attack them, boys," to the rest of the Don Callis family. And Andrade's like, what the hell? And so they're clearly building something with Andrade. To me, you have Andrade take the fucking win and get the title shot, because it's fucking Andrade. But And then after that, sorry, before I give my opinion, Brody, Jack Perry come out and save. They obviously, Perry and Darby have a bit of past heat. Obviously, they have a rivalry, and obviously with Brody as well being in there, that's a bit of a thingy. Then Kenny comes out because Kenny's on com, but then Kenny and Darby have a moment where they stare and talk at each other, and Darby walks off because obviously Kenny and is going for the title and Darby wants the title, so they might be setting that up. No, but that's that really. I with Darby being in the title picture, I'm not really a fan of that anyway. I'm never really a fan of Darby being in the men's world title picture, but I think as an actual promo, it was fine. I thought Max was going to come out, but I hope that they don't do that. It makes me a bit more nervous for the future. But I think as an actual service, it was good. I feel like him and Jack Perry having a bit of history being highlights was really cool. That's what I really liked. But Darby being in there really highlights that they're really pushing him for the title. Yay. However, after that, we actually get our main event, MJF versus Speedball in a title eliminator, in the sense of if Speedball wins, he gets the next title shot, regardless if it's Kenny or Max. Now, this match, Max obviously comes out in the All-American gimmick, you know, funny as hell. His face is the stars on the flag, funny as hell. I love the All-American gimmick. And then you've also got Speedball coming out full Canada gear with the flag. Cheap pop, but who gives a fuck? It's really cool. Kenny's on commentary during the match. And, yeah, the match was really good. I mean, it wasn't... You could tell Speedball wasn't allowed to be as quick as we've seen him. I feel like that's a big thing here. You don't get to see as, like... It's not going to be like Speedball versus Kyle. You know what I mean? It's just not going to be like that. But that's fine. Max is really good here. Max has a lot of good heel moments doing the you know, his little mocking face and like that. But there's a point where he's doing the mocking, about to do the kicks, taking the piss out of Speedball. Speedball swipes his feet. I thought that was really good. What I was worried about going into this was I was really worried they were going to do what they did with Kevin, where they had Kevin basically beat Max and make Max look still not weak, but like, you know what I mean, not have him be clean, you know, have that thing where it's like, oh God, you know, because I don't think you can do that with Max for so many times. I don't think it helps him in terms of his, but then it's Max, so it kind of works. As a match, Speedball has a lot of moments where he's starving out the ring and stuff, but Max is a lot of cheap shots type of guy in terms of not like low blows or anything. He doesn't really do any shit like that here. He doesn't even like do too much eye pokes, which he normally does. Doesn't even do the bris, which I thought was quite surprising. He does a great heat seeker towards the end. I thought, honestly, this one had I think this one was like 20 minutes, and it didn't really... The thing is with this match, it was good. I'm not going to deny it. It was a really good match. It was just, it didn't really do too much, I don't feel like. I can't really sit here and go, okay, this did this, X, Y, and Z. It did a lot of things, but it didn't do, like, too much. A lot of Speedball's knees were excellent, where he does the flip, and then knees Max's back. There was one that looked really brutal, and then there was one that looked really fucking, like, painful on Speedball, because he dodges it. The finish is good. I like the finish a lot, where the finish... was so Max obviously does the God bless America a few times, but Speedball does one of those flips, you know, with the knees. Max dodges it on the apron. Max goes, hits him, then sets up the heat seeker, does like God bless America, hits a brutal heat seeker and gets the pin. I really liked how the pin was straight up clean. There was no real antics or anything. Wasn't no Dynamite Diamond ring or anything. That's what I really enjoyed. But as an actual there and then as a match, it was fine. It wasn't excellent to me. It really wasn't. It wasn't a match I'm like, oh, this is like... Max versus Kevin was excellent. I don't think this was. I think Max versus Kevin was a much better match. But I don't think this was designed to be a show stealer. Well, it's coming off the Pac versus Ospreay. It's hard going to be. But I don't know. I just think the match was good. It wasn't excellent, but it was really good. It served its purpose very well. So Max gets the win clean. He's staring at Kenny after it. And then Kenny's like, whatever, pal. And then Max goes to leave. And then after it, he attacks Speedball. Kenny runs up, chases Max off. And then Speedball and Kenny have a moment in the ring. Kenny raises each other hands. And that is the end of the show. Again, Max being on the end makes sense. I do wish that... I don't know. I feel like they could have done something a bit more with Max. I do. I feel like they could have done something a tiny bit more in terms of after the match. I feel like you could have him and Kenny stand off, stare at each other. You know, maybe have the no physicality. Maybe have Max and Kenny taunt a bit more. The promo, I feel like we could get another promo next week. I'd really like that. But stuff like that, I feel like there's a lot more to develop with Max and Kenny, and that's what I'm really wanting to see. As a match with Speedball, I mean, I love Speedball. I think Speedball's excellent. I just don't think he was allowed to go full Speedball, if that makes sense. But as a match, really good. It was for an impromptu match as well. I feel like they had plans for something else, but they weren't able to. But either way, I enjoyed this. I thought it was a good title eliminator. It made sense. It was kind of out of character for Max to do the match on the same night, but I kind of appreciated, like, you know, he's just doing it to prove a point, and he didn't have to cheat with the Dynamite ring. I was very happy with that. But yeah, solid ass match, solid way to end a phenomenal Dynamite, a really fucking good Dynamite. So yeah, that was Dynamite this week. I really enjoyed it. I think everything had a good layer of quality. I think a lot of it had time to develop itself, especially like every match was over 10 minutes. It really felt like that. Obviously Jericho returning the big talking point. Yay. Mox, the builds. One thing I didn't like about the show, I'll say this straight up, was there was no more confirmations of what's happening at Dynasty. I feel like they had to do that with this show, and they didn't. I feel like they're very valid criticism for the show. I feel like Dynasty's not that far away, so you got to kind of get that going now. But why they never is beyond me. Obviously, we know what's happening with some matches. There's only 4 matches confirmed. And, again, they're still getting developed. It's just, I don't know, you could have confirmed something for Tekla. I feel like that's what you should have done at the end of their match, but I don't know. I feel like they were going to, but then they just cut. But either way, we obviously got Collision tonight, so that should do a lot more. But the matches, again, Ospreay versus Pac, I mean, what else do you expect? Fucking banger. You know, obviously, there's a few little kinks, but this is someone who watches week in, week out. I'm going to notice a bit more things. But honestly, match-wise, everything-wise, it was really good. Especially for how slim in terms of the card was, in terms of quantity. The quality was very fucking high. Don't let that fool you. Excellent card, excellent Dynamite. Winnipeg, fucking phenomenal crowd. All about it. Really enjoyed. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Dynamite this week. What did you think of the show? What was your thoughts on Jericho returning? What was your thoughts on Pac versus Ospreay? And what's your thoughts on anything else that happened? Let me know, because where's the learning tree when you need them?